This video is brought to you by Cluster Fix. We do a variety of automotive electronic repairs such as instrument clusters, climate control, lighting, radio lighting. Some of the problems these clusters have are with the gauges sticking and being inoperative, as well as the lighting start burning out in the cluster there. So today we're going to demonstrate how to remove the cluster. A few tools you'll need. One of them is the pry tool. Some sort of a pry tool comes in handy to remove the trim without damaging it, and also a little pick tool may come in handy. 7mm socket and extension or a nut driver. So this video can be used to remove the cluster, and also as well as the radio, access to the radio. There's just some screws to hold the radio in once you have this all out, as well as the climate control. And another problem these have is with the ignition switch. Theft issues, no start issues and stuff like that, and that is done as well easily by removing the cluster to get to the back side of the ignition switch. There's two bolts that hold it in the front, but you can get it out through the back. Best way to do that is take the instrument cluster out. So first of all, you can take, there's a little cover down here. It's got a couple latches, and you just pop that down, and there's a couple screws underneath of there, which will take this trim panel off. I'm going to use this electric tool to make it faster. And all the screws will be 7mm screws from the factory. So you got those two screws out, and this side cover here, there's some fuses underneath here. You pop this off. It's just held in by clips. You put that aside, and there's a screw right here, and you'll have the same thing on the other side. I've already removed it. One screw that holds the other end of this trim panel on, and the side cover. So you just do the other side the same way, and then you can remove the screw here. All the screws are the same, and there's two screws up on the top here. You remove those. Got those out of the way. And those two screws are removed down here. Now you can just pop this trim panel down, either with your tool or with your finger. I'll use the tool on this side. And you can unplug this switch if you need to totally move it out of the way, or just keep it set aside like that. So things are set aside there, and then once those screws are removed, another thing you'll have to do is remove this little ring that goes around the ignition switch. Says off, accessory, on, start, and you can get a little pick tool in there and just kind of pry it out carefully. It's just snapped into place. So I'll remove this ring, and it's out now because this will have to come off. So once that's done, you can get the trim tool back in here and start prying. And now you're going to want to move the steering wheel down. You start prying on the trim. It's just snapped into place with clips. So you'll see the whole thing come loose here. Now there's going to be one screw right here. So before you do too much prying, take this out. Don't want to break that. So take that out. So now it's all loose. So I put the key back in the ignition. Turn it on. Move the gear selector down. And there's the hazard switch right here. There's no switch on this one, but this one's got the hazard switch there. You'll need to pull this out and unplug that. I do that by putting a little pressure on the harness and then pushing the locking tab in, and pops right out. So I push in on this because it's latched to the switch. Once that's out, then you can carefully move this out of the way. Big old long piece here. Set that aside. So now you see your stereo's exposed. There's 3 screws holding that in. It'll be plugged in the back, and the climate control has 2 screws. So you undo that and you can pull that out. This one's got a light burn out here, and So once you got this out, there's the 4 screws that hold the cluster in, and there are 2 on each side. Unscrew those. Set those aside. All the screws are the same, so don't have to worry about mixing them up on this one. All same length, same style. So just 4 screws holding the cluster in on this, and then there's one plug-in in the upper right hand corner here, and I like to unplug them with the key off and plug them in with the key off. But there's a little latch you push and it comes undone, and now you have your cluster out. So this latch, there's a blue latch on this one. You just push it in and wiggle the connector upward and out to help you get that out. Now the ignition switch I was talking about, now you got access right behind here. It's still tight, but there's 2 10mm screws here, and with this out, now you have some room in here to get your hand down in there. You may have to take a few other things off, but that's how this ignition switch comes out for repair for the pass lock system, I believe it is, that causes some issues with the theft and intermittently not cranking and everything. But this is what we service, the instrument clusters and some of the other lighting issues on the radio and the climate control. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at 509-366-9009. You can also visit us on the web and place your orders for cluster repairs at www.clusterfix.com. Thank you.